Hey, you guys, welcome back to Steampunk Psyche. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm JT. If you are a returning subscriber, we're going to talk about the energy. And thanks for being here, by the way. I love you. I appreciate you. I first of all want to say I apologize for not getting the readings out. If I'm going to be real honest with you, which I am trying to approach this channel with complete, open, and honest. And the truth is I have felt like total crap for the last 3 or 4 days. And I feel like partly it's energetic. I had a situation where my energy just depleted, like lethargic. I guess if that's the right word, lethargic. But I just completely lost energy. Now it could be like a low blood pressure situation. But I don't think so. You know, I mean, I am a heavy smoker. I do smoke, but cigarettes. But I don't drink and anything like that. I probably need to exercise. It's probably a telltale right there. You know what I mean? I need to get out and exercise, whatever. But this happens a lot with me. And the reason I wanted to come on here is because I think there's so much information out on the internet about energetic experiences and, astrological signs and things like that. And we are talking about today being the 17th with the, the perfect alignment. Also the solar fire eclipse and what have you. But I personally do, I don't really follow astrological because there's just so much involved with that. You know, there are so many constellations and, unless you really study astrology and you're into that, I mean, I think a person would really have to be really into that to understand, how something like that could affect us, here on this planet. And now I'm not saying that doesn't exist at all. I just feel like for me personally, I don't even challenge it. I don't really have anything to say about that. But what I do know is that I feel like about every time the moon goes into the waxing gibbous or the waning crescent moon or something like that. I mean, there's just particular stages where I really feel like my energy just zaps the hell out of me. It just and so where I used to like not really pay attention to it, especially when I was younger. I was just busy on the go, working all the time and what have you. But now I've got more time on my hands, and it's like, my gosh. So. And since I've been on a spiritual path or an awakening of sort, and also just really trying to understand who I am as a person, asking those hard questions, going through the past and dealing with traumatic past, dealing with wounds and, karmic relationships, that type of thing. Without getting into detail, what I mean is, I'm sure you understand what I mean. But there are certain times where I feel like, there are days where I am healed. I feel like there's nothing from my past that could really come back to, affect me in ways, like it used to. Whereas before there were times where even if I came across somebody that was from my past or, and there's like a spark of memory or something, and you know what I mean, where you gotta kind of step back and you feel like you're going backwards more than forwards. You know what I mean? And, you got to kind of come to that level again. And it's just almost icky. It's got that icky feeling. So if you understand what I mean, then what I'm saying is that used to be in the past for me. So now that doesn't really necessarily take place. But what does take place is like fragments of my past. The last 3 or 4 nights I have had such vivid dreams, and I really try to pay attention to my dreams. I think I'm more into the alchemical or the more mystery related things, not that astrological is not mystery, but it really captures my interest more on that era or that type of topic. And I also, I really respect Jung, Carl Jung, and the stereo or the archetypes for different types of different types of expression, emotional expression and things. So my journey has been really about trying to identify that, in the most part. But I've had some really just almost like a feeling in my head, this. I wanted to say it was sinuses, and I know I'm not alone in this. I've been seeing it all over, social media and things like that. It's like, I've had this sinus thing for like 2 months, and so what I guess what I'm kind of getting at is maybe there is a part of that, that external alignment of planets or things that are taking place external of this planet that really kind of pull on our gravitational system or something that causes like I'd be curious to know is the last 3 or 4 days what the barometric pressure was like, across the planet, kind of as a whole. What kind of tips the scales? I don't think I'm also alone in knowing that, our weather patterns are really strange, to me. Like right now, we should be in the middle of a very cold winter, at least where I'm at. I remember as a young kid, I remember snow drifts that were 3-4 foot tall, and gosh, we hardly ever see snow anymore. When we do, it's like, what the hell is that? So I, and I'm not trying to go down the road of the greenhouse effect and all that. I'm not, because I kind of feel like, we really are just now beginning to understand all of our weather patterns and things, and it would be really kind of, I think, just a big guess if you were to go, over the last 3 billion years, you know what I mean? This is what the weather looked like. Now, research can show those types of things that took place. So it could be that we are, just entering into another cycle that's like, a 35,000 year cycle, so to speak, if time knew that was time. But we could be entering some kind of cycle where, where the planets maybe align in just the right way, that it pulls really hard, it causes a higher gravitational, which I don't know, maybe somehow signals the sun and we get more solar flares or whatever. So it heats up, sending more, UV rays or microwaves or whatever it is that plasma is, projected outwards. I don't know, but I do know that there is something definitely taking place with the weather. And I know that it causes, for us humans, we're very sensitive to energy, and we're very sensitive to, these patterns. And I feel like our plants and our trees and everything, pollen counts, everything is just really kind of magnified. And, and the obvious result is, harsh breathing patterns. And, seems like you just can't get enough air in your lungs, Now, like I said, I am a smoker, and I'm not going to, I don't want somebody to go, well, dude, you smoke too damn much, quit. And I get it. Right. But I don't think I'm alone. There's a lot of people that are experiencing this kind of stuff. So I don't know. It was just something I wanted to talk about. And I know that maybe that's, maybe people don't really care about that, but it's just like the last 3 or 4 days. And now here's the thing. It's like, this took place for me again, this same kind of thing. I've been experiencing, this wheezy in the chest. It's like I can't get enough Robitussin down in my chest to get whatever is in there out. It just keeps going and keeps going. Now, about 2 months ago, I experienced this same thing where it was like, my lower belly, I was just cramping all the time. And, and it was like, here's the thing. I know that I carry stress in my, in that solar plexus area. I think we all carry it there. And when I meditate, I really try to imagine, releasing that tension, really kind of getting to the core of it. When I calm down in my meditation, sometimes I am given, like a vision or at least a feeling of knowing that maybe this was something from the past that's come up, because I experienced the fragmentation of, what trauma maybe I had gone through, or disappointment. And it doesn't always have to be trauma, but it's like things as simple as, when people didn't respect you for who you were, or they didn't see you for who you were. This could be places at work or people that you worked around. And I know that sounds kind of menial. It's like, why should we care? But we have suppressed a whole lot of information. We were taught to be I'm Generation X, and I'm not making excuses for Generation X at all, but, I think I had parents. I don't know, maybe I did. But we were that generation, we kind of raised ourselves and we kind of had to figure out things on our own. And I'm not, applauding us for that. We should have had parents that were there for us. Okay. But what I'm saying is that we kind of had to figure out things on our own. So it toughened us up in a way that, so a lot of times we look at things that are, maybe hard on us or that hurt, we just kind of go, we'll get by, we'll do what we got to do to move on and, let it go. But excuse me. So the point I'm getting at is that, you start to, especially whenever you've, gone through a phase where you're waking up to some of the things that you're finding your own boundaries, you're finding your what really truly brings peace to you. And sometimes that doesn't include the people that we were around before. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, a lot of things that we suppressed, they tend to come up. So a couple months ago, that same situation took place. I was going through this feverish, waking up like I just got out of the shower and just went straight into the bed and laid down without, using a towel. And this took place for almost 2 months like this. And you're like, why don't you go doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I get it, but I don't trust doctors. I don't, I trust my own body. Now I know whenever I need to go, I'll go. But anyway, so it's kind of like I want to heal, I want to heal internally, not from external, not to say that medicine's not good, but nowadays I don't really know. I don't know what the answer is for that. But anyway, so like I said, this happened a couple months ago too. And I just tried to push through, just kind of going, and maybe there was a something that came back because it felt fragmented again. The last few days, it was kind of like, you maybe this is the universe going, dude, you weren't done yet. You're going to feel this one. Excuse me. But yeah, so, I feel like the energy here lately has just been this restless, chaotic, almost out of control. And for a person who's trying to stay balanced, a person who's really just going, I try not to let a whole lot trip me up, and the trying part I know is resistive in nature. But to allow certain things to come into you, especially when you're feeling pain or you're feeling illness or, or dis-ease or anything like that, sometimes it can be challenging to the mind, so the mind over matter is very challenging too. And I just wanted to say that because I don't know if anybody else has been kind of feeling this way, but it's sort of like, it's sort of like we jumped a time frame or something, and our body's trying to catch up. Now, I've heard people say this before, and I'm not promoting any other channels or anything like that. Nobody knows, that I watch other channels, but there are a few channels where they speak about this. That actually they're kind of a voice of reason for me. But there are a few channels where they speak about that, kind of like jumping time frames, or, just the very fact that, if we're in this together, energetically speaking, that it's kind of like our mind gets there before our body does, and our body has to catch up. So it's going through this process of, coming through the warp or the time zone or whatever the hell it is. I kind of think of it as if you look at the circle of infinity, that figure eight, as the circle rolls around and it comes to the point where both meet. I kind of feel like that would be the place where you would feel that most energy, because you've got two lines that are crossing each other. So it's that space in between, that energy, and then it rolls away and passes by. And perhaps if there was a direction, perhaps we're moving in, I don't know what the direction would be. But I kind of feel like that may be something that maybe happens. I don't know. At least that's how my brain maybe tried to explain it. I'm hearing a wild noise. Hello? wild. What is that noise? Do y'all hear that? Where are you? I'm not even joking. That's crazy. I gotta go check this out. Hang on. I will be right back. All right, y'all. This is funny. It's funny. You know, they give you these balloons at Walmart or wherever, and they've got the little thing on the bottom that holds the ribbon, right? Well, I put it in our bedroom next to the fan, and the fan's blowing the balloon around, and it's scraping on the concrete floor. I thought the Lord was talking to me. Hey, I don't count anything out, right? Oh, that is so funny. Oh, interruptions. That's part of the reason I got the 9 of Swords up there on the energy update because of that. It's like interruptions. It's like what is bothering us, what's troubling us. And maybe just for me personally, it's like the things I can't explain. You know, my brain just goes crazy, goes every which way. And because I've always been a curious fella, you know, even when I was little, I questioned everything. And if you couldn't give me an answer, then why should I believe you? You know, and if the ending conversation ended with, well, you just got to have faith. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So there is something in that, and I understand more now since I've studied the Bible, you know. But I think that what is not really taught a whole lot is what is faith and how do you practice that. So that's just a little side note there on that. But yeah, that was funny, y'all. That was really funny. Actually, it kind of like freaked me out. I thought, what is that noise? Because it sounded like it was. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I've been drinking um, electrolytes water, and eating fruit, apples and bananas and mandarins, just to get my blood right. You know, um, I'm starting to feel a lot better. This is the first day in like 4 days, 3.5, 4 days, since I've been able to record anything. But anyway, I just wanted to say I apologize for not getting out there. Um, but yeah, so if you are feeling this way, if you kind of have this, it's hard to explain. Like I said, words are very hard for me to try to put into to give you this perspective of what I'm trying to see. And I suppose that's the only reason we have language in the first place, right? Given. Um, but it kind of feels like, you know, there has been this, it's sort of like if, now this is going to sound kind of out there, but it's like if you were searching for the third eye, you know, we've all heard of this kind of concept or theory. The third eye, the all-knowing eye, or the all-seeing eye, or at least your higher knowledge, your crown chakra, the opening of your crown chakra. There are lots of different religious aspects, lots of different spiritual aspects about that. You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to choose any one particular to reference that, but it's sort of like because doctors now know that there is an actual position in the brain that it's a pretty powerful area. Needless to say, it's sort of like um, what if it's like it's like cracking open the shell on the outside of it, you know, and that's why you're experiencing this kind of this buzzing or this humming or this, you know, the ringing in the ears sometimes, or the, you know, it's sort of like the more you kind of investigate the soul, so to speak, or the awakening, or other than yourself, you know, the differences between the ego and the energetic self, or you know, the more it opens up and the more it allows you to see or to feel different aspects of the world. You know, you get to experience the hum of the earth. You get to experience, uh, I don't know, like how the wind, when the wind blows and you hear it going through the leaves, how you feel it throughout your whole body. You know, it's like you're at one with it. And I'm not talking about any kind of a, you know, not to disrespect any people that, you know, like to hug trees or anything like that, because that's none of my business. I don't care about any of that. But I'm just saying that it's sort of like, and when I say that oneness, I just mean it's like you really kind of get the idea that everything is just so connected. So the more you delve into these things, or the more you start to reach inside and find answers, you know, the more this opens up. So, and this could be what's taking place is just your body has to catch up to that new energy that it exposes you to. Now, I don't know what that is. Maybe I mean, maybe that is Pandora's box. Maybe that is I don't know, maybe that is the Ark of the Covenant in your brain. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Uh, I know that's a pretty deep subject or deep topic. And like I said, I don't mean any disrespect or anything, but there's just so much information out there that you could go down some rabbit hole of information, you know, and come out just as foggy as you did before you know, went in. But the energies I definitely feel, you know, I've always been that way. I feel like I can feel people's energies. I feel like I can pick up on things that normally, in fact, I've just experienced that a lot, where I feel like I'm a stranger in a place. I've never felt like I'm at home anywhere, no matter where I lived, no matter who I was with. And I mean, no disrespect to any of the people that I was with or where I was at. It's just that there was never a sense of a permanency. I always felt like I was like a drifter, you know, a nomad. And so when I hear things like people talking about, you know, you're an old soul. Of course, that's not a new line. I remember hearing that, but it was usually about singers, you know, for young people being an old soul if they had a beautiful raspy voice or bluesy voice or something like that. You know, that's kind of what that represented when I was younger. But now it's an old soul could mean anything from, yeah, I mean, you could have very well been, you know, one of the pharaohs, you know, or, you know, King Arthur, I don't know, you know, Guinevere, whatever. I don't know about that. You know, I'm not saying that reincarnation is not a thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like that would be a beautiful, beautiful way, but in another way, I'm like, okay, if reincarnation exists like that, then that means, you know, to reach nirvana or to reach that high Gaia, you might have to go through life a few times. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of stubborn-headed people. Just saying. And hopefully, you know, this is my last round with that. You know, I want to hit nirvana and Gaia and go ahead and move on into the peaceful, blissful place, whatever that is. Because, you know, it's been a rough road. It's been a beautiful experience, though. And it takes a lot to get to that point, I know. But and so like today, I was sitting there thinking, you know, and I was cramping bad, you know, I mean, and I know some of you ladies are like, honey, I know. And I'm not even trying to one up you in any way, shape or form. You're blessed. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it, for carrying that burden. But try not to look at it as a burden. You know, it's a most beautiful thing. And I try to tell my life partner that same thing. And she understands that, at least how I feel about it towards her, you know. But I was cramping really bad. And, I mean, just super painful. And it's like, I just, instead of took the attitude, and it took a minute to get that through, but I just kind of got pissed. I was like, you know, yeah, you're letting me know that I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Yep. I'm feeling it because I know how good I'm going to feel when this is done and over with, you know? Yeah, I got a fever going on. Yeah, I'm kind of in a pissy mood. I'm kind of angry. You know, things haven't been going the greatest that I wanted them to go. Yeah, I get it. I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm not feeling good. I'm grouchy. I'm grumpy. You know, my partner's been taking care of me, and that just, makes me mad because I want to take care of them, you know? And so, so yeah, anyway, I was just like, you know, getting angry at it and trying to change my perspective on it and just going with it and saying, you know, hey, what the hell? It'll be over soon. It'll pass. Hopefully, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to tell anybody not to go see a doctor or nothing like that. That's not what I mean, you know, but sometimes you just know your body, you know what I mean? You know that, hey, this is the flu or this is something. And, you know, I'm all about not giving any doctors or any pharmaceutical companies any more money than they already got. And like I said, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody. If you're a doctor, you watching this, or anybody involved with the pharmaceutical companies, because I know that, you know, science has come a long way into helping us. But I feel like, you know, this planet here is a beautiful garden, and that there's nothing that's I don't think there's anything on planet Earth that cannot be solved by planet Earth, or we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? We overcome. And a lot of it is energetically, and a lot of it is through, you know, herbal medicines and rituals, traditional type of rituals. I don't know what you do, whatever it is you do. You know, now, whether or not burying a, you know, your dirty dish rag outside the backyard, I'm not saying it doesn't have any kind of magic, because you could put magic or you could give energy to anything, you know. I've got a magic wand over here. You know, I believe in it. I believe that you can put energy in anything. I think you should realize there's always a consequence to using magic. I don't think you can't you can use it, but it always has a consequence. There's always something coming back, so it has to make sure that it's for the benefit. And I'm not smart enough to use dark magic, so you don't have to worry about me. I'm not. I don't use dark magic, but I know it exists. I know there's dark energy, so that you can use any of it. Wow, that's been a heck of a. It's been like 27 minutes in. Okay. Yeah. So listen, you guys, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not getting the posts out there. Hopefully I'll start to get feeling better. I just don't like to do the readings when I'm not feeling up to par. It really, it just makes me feel untruthful, and when I'm not in it, I'm really kind of biased in myself, you know, towards myself, how I'm feeling and what have you. And so I don't want to project that onto the readings. So if you can respect that, I appreciate it. Anyway, I love you, and I will be getting back on the readings real soon, okay? Anyway, all right. I love you. We'll see you later. All right, bye-bye.